I'm Joseph Kern, Instructional Designer at Emporia State University. This video is going to show you how to use the editing features of YouTube to enhance your videos a little bit. So you can click on your name anywhere in YouTube, go to Video Manager, that takes you to this page, and from there you can select which items to edit. When you uploaded your video, you probably already did the info and settings, so the title, the description, thumbnails. So this video is going to look at enhancements, audio, annotations, and captions. So you may have seen on the original Video Manager page that I had the Improve This Video button show up. It doesn't show up on these other ones because what they think I need to improve is that I was a little bit shaky on the video, and so they can actually look and find things to fix, which is kind of handy. For all the enhancement features, there's a bar that you can scroll across. You can compare the original and the preview. On here, apparently, to fix the shaking, you just make everything a little bit bigger and a little bit fuzzier. So I'm going to say no thanks on this fix. But when we go in enhancements, we can look at what else there is to do it. So most of the things that show up here are changing things to black and white or changing color. And with any of these, if you select it, you again can move back and forth, but if you don't like it, you can reselect it and that will take it back. Or you can click Revert to Original and that fixes it as well. You have an auto fix function where it will just look for things like lighting and try and fix those on its own, which is handy and simple for you. You can play with all kinds of lighting things. Again, they're stabilizing. A really helpful thing might be to trim this. So if you have a long lecture or something where you want to chop out the beginning or end, or I realize that after a while he stops being cute in the video, I can just stop it right there, even though everybody knows he's not going to stop being cute. And when I'm done, I can just tell it done. I can save it, or I can save as, and it will save a different version of the video. And that's another way to do it so that you don't ruin your original. For more enhanced video editing, which would be a whole other video sometime, you're able to bring multiple uploads together to make one video. You're able to add a lot more stuff to it, but we'll play with that later. So next up we have audio. And unfortunately, it doesn't actually fix the videotape's audio, which would be really handy. What it allows you to do is to add some background music to it. So we could see if adding this background music makes a difference. We can also, with this, adjust and favor original audio. Means it's going to make it more of a background. And he's so much cuter with background music. I didn't even know that was possible, but somehow. You can look on here for different types of music, and for the most part I'd say if it's something with you talking, you don't really want the music in there, but there are ways to adjust that too. So if we put some rock music in, which he would like, we can position the audio. So if you have an intro and then you're showing how to do something on a computer, that's a good way to do it, is while you're actually showing whatever the computer work is, throw some awesome rock music in the background, and then it's not going over your speech. When you're done, put it in position, tell it done, and then you can rock out while you're doing something on the computer. Just like with enhancements, you can revert, you can save, and then you can move on. And the annotations feature is pretty helpful for an instructor. For one thing, after I get done making a video, lots of times I forgot to say something. This is a way to put it in there as a little note, and it allows you to just add extra information, but also links. So let's look at these. We have a speech bubble, which I really wish this would drag a little bit more, but it's a box with a little triangle attached to it, and you can type in it either in this box or up here. You can play with the font and the size and the color and all that. You can adjust the start time and end time. The default is for it to show up for 5 seconds, but you can always change that. And down here you can change it also. You can also move it to later in the track. So when I change it down here, it also changes it up here. Now the cool thing with this is to link. So I can link it to another video, to another playlist on YouTube, to my YouTube channel. But for the most part, I would say video is probably going to be the handiest thing. So on here, when he says, the two cowboys are working, I can link this to a video of cowboys working. So I can go on here on YouTube, find another video. I can get their link either from the top up here, or I can share and get the slightly shorter hyperlink, copy that, and paste it in here. And I want this to open in a new window. So now when this shows up, I have 5 seconds, 6 seconds now, where I can click on this bubble and it will take me to that video. When I'm done with that one, I hit save. So now when I look at this bubble, it has a little button there to show you this is a linked item. Now the really cool thing with annotations and with links is it's not just about linking to different videos, you can also link to your own video, and that's a way at the beginning to make a table of contents, or at any point in the video you can make it jump somewhere else. That's I think a really good way to do like reviews. So you have a bunch of questions, each one has the answer later on, not immediately, but they have to click to it. You can have it be the table of contents for the video, so viewers can select what part of the video they care about watching, and I probably have that in this video, don't I? And so with that, it gives it a little bit more navigation. So to do that, you set it up as a link to a video, and with my own video manager page, I want it to be in this video, so I can just click on the link address. Now that's on my clipboard, I can copy that here and paste. So I want this to jump forward to 30 seconds in this video. And so at this point, if I click on that bubble, it's going to take me there. So now, let's look at a note. A note basically is going to be the same thing as a bubble. It just doesn't have a fancy little tag on it. But I can add that in here. A note looks slightly different than a bubble in this picture. I can add a title, which is going to be really big across the front. Move that to the beginning. A spotlight's kind of a cool thing to add. With a spotlight, it shows kind of a white rectangle, or a light colored rectangle, and when you put your mouse in it, it shows up brighter and you can see the label to it. A label does it pretty similarly, and when we play the video we'll be able to see the differences in these. And the last thing is a pause, and this is another good thing where if you're doing maybe like a math video where you have a problem and you say, alright, take 30 seconds and solve it, and then you start the video again and tell the answer. If you don't pause it for them, students might not pause it on their own, so they just get the question, immediately get the answer. If you put a pause in, you can say, I'm going to pause for 5 seconds. The video will stop itself, have a little timer tick down, and then it will immediately go to the next spot. So we'll be able to see all of these in progression as we watch the video here. Now one last thing with these, if I decide I don't want something in here, then I can just click on each one and click the delete can, and that'll get rid of them. But let's watch on the page. So we have the title show up. As it goes along here, we've got a bubble. So that was the link to the Cowboys working video. We keep going, then it's got another one. That's a link to 30 seconds ahead in the video. So at this point, it might be handy if I had another link going back to where I started. But when we go back there, we have a note, which doesn't really do a lot. That rectangle shows up, that was the spotlight. And then the label shows up also, which looks kind of a Polaroid picture. And now when we get here, we have no choice but to stop and work on our math problem for the 5 seconds I gave. So altogether, those are the annotations that you can put on your video. And again, especially like the spotlight didn't show up very well, play with the fonts and the sizes like that to make it something that works visually. Alright, last thing to look at now is captions. With the captions, you have a couple of options. One is that it will give you automatic captions. It will listen to the video and figure out what you're saying, except it's not very accurate because he did not talk about Bob Dole anywhere in this video. So it may or may not do a good job of that for you. What you can look at then is to upload a caption file or a transcript. So if I have a script I'm going to use, I made it in Word. I have to actually tell it to save as a plain text document instead of a Word document. So I have to look down, and this is a .txt file. If you made a file in Notebook, it would be the same thing. And the .txt file can be read when you upload it. So upload, it's that, and you have to tell it it's a transcript file. A caption file will have basically little brackets at the beginning of each line with the beginning and end time of that line. It's a big fat pain if you try and make it on your own. There are programs online where you can take your script and just drag over pieces of it to put in the right timestamp, but even then it's a big pain and you don't need to do it. YouTube does a pretty good job of matching up everything, as hopefully we'll see here. I'm worried about the baby talk, if that's going to make it match up, but usually for my videos I don't have a problem. But with that, I can upload it, and when it's all done processing, which I just cut out about 3 minutes of it processing, you have the disabled track, the automatic one that doesn't work anymore because it talks about Bob Dole, and then we've got the English one. So here's where I can edit things together a little bit. So if I want to move the two cowboys are working together at the beginning, I can do that. So I can cut that, paste it. You may notice sometimes we have something like an apostrophe that's not an apostrophe, it's a weird character, because TXT and Word don't always speak the same language. So you might either go through and correct all the incorrect apostrophes, or just call it good and people will figure out what it's supposed to be, because people are smart. So I tell it I'm done, and we can go watch it. Two cowboys are working. So those are the basics on using these features to improve your YouTube video. And basically, don't freak out about the quality of the content. Anything you put up there is going to be helpful for your students, whether it's professional grade or not. So congratulations for trying. Be on the lookout for the video about editing videos in YouTube, which when I make it, I'll probably put an annotation right underneath here later anyway. So if there's one of those, click on it. In the meantime, play around, have a good time, enjoy YouTubing.